So this one might get emotional. I'm just kind of going to describe things the way that I see them here and sort of explain the problem and the possible solutions. And this will probably be some of the most based stuff I've ever said, or at least I think so. Here's the deal. I did quit my job a while back, a couple months ago. I quit my job because it was just not sustainable. And there were a lot of other things that were going on, and I've mentioned that before. Here's the deal. It's been a couple months, and I haven't uploaded or done anything, and there's a couple of reasons for that I'm going to get into in a second, but here's the deal. Here's the long and short of it. I am going to just describe the problem first. Here's the deal. Life is becoming like there's been this idea that I think everybody is aware of that the middle class is dying, and like we can say that, but this is the problem. It's not just the middle class is like dying. It's that like there's it's not just that. It's way beyond that. It's way worse. It's that the opportunities opportunities that were available to people are shrinking, and they're going away. So, for instance, around 3 years ago, I entered the world when the pandemic happened. So I graduated college, got a really high-paying contractor position in digital media in 2020, and I could afford to live. It was tight sometimes, but I could do it. My rent was like $1,200, which is still a lot, but I was making good money. Like I was making a lot compared to that in the high seasons, and then way less in the slow seasons. And it was like it was fine, right? It worked for a while, but I left the company because the company was having problems. It had nothing to do with the income outright. It was the company that was really struggling under the weight of its own growth, and so I left because I couldn't do that anymore. I then took another job that paid me significantly less, but I could still kind of afford to live barely, but like not really, because even though my rent was much lower, it was only like 1,000. Like I wasn't paid anything. I mean, I was not. I was paid just garbage, right? And it just there was no incentive, there was no motivating factor, there was no growth. It was just like, here's the job, go do it. And I was like, if I'm not gonna get paid more over time, then why am I doing this? This is stupid. Okay, well, here's the deal. In the last like couple months, and it could just be me, it's just becoming more evident to me how bad this is. Like I didn't realize, or maybe, I don't know, we all live in our own echo chambers and stuff like that, echo chambers. But here's the deal. At some point, I just kind of realized how recently, like how bad it is to just work like a regular job when it comes to the idea that it's like not worth it. So like if you go back, I wasn't here on this earth like 100 years ago, but however many hundreds of years ago, this country was founded on the belief that every person here would be able to work to attain freedom or something like that. When in reality, a lot of those guys, maybe specifically the boomers, I guess, a lot of those guys were offered a choice and a promise. Guys like Ford and Chrysler and these other big companies, they said in maybe the 40s and 50s, come work for us and we'll give you freedom and retirement. And they did, and they worked for 40 years and then they got a retirement. Well, it's like, I don't see that happening anymore at all. And by the way, I don't even know that those people are happy because they gave 45 years of their life to Ford. And now they're like, I know some people that are older that have done that, and they don't seem very happy to me. Okay, so like I said, I gotta stay on topic. What is the problem? The problem is I don't see the same sustainability in the, I guess you could say, United States. I don't see the same economic sustainability that I was promised. I assumed when I worked at a job that either I would become more valuable, like over time, and then I could get paid more to live at a job, or that I would that I would not be miserable because I'd be able to afford to live. I didn't like, it's one thing to be like, oh, I can't afford to live. It's another thing to be like, no one under the age of 30 can afford to live. No one under the age of 30 can afford to live. Like rents are just stupid. I'm hearing stories of people where they're renting a one-bedroom apartment for like $1,650. I'm like, But that's like my parents' mortgage isn't even close to that. Like, you're kidding me, right? And house prices are insane. I used to be in real estate, and they're ludicrous. And I don't think there's going to be a crash. And the reason I don't think there's going to be a crash is because all of the houses are getting bought up by BlackRock and all these investment banks, right? And a crash only happens if there's no one to buy, but all these investment banks want to just own the houses so that you'll own nothing and be happy and rent, see? And you'll rent at an exorbitant rate. And so I'm like, there is no job. And not to mention, let's go a little further. I go on Indeed. I spend, you know, 100 applications on Indeed. Okay, guess who gets them? Nobody. A machine filters all of them. And if I don't use AI to generate a resume that's going to get through that AI generated filter for those jobs, then I don't get in with the other 800 people that are applying to all these jobs. Okay, all over the world. Like, I'm not even trying to just do it locally. I'm just doing ones all over the country and all over the nation because I'm like, I'll move for work if it pays good. Nothing at all. Nothing. And so, not to, maybe two or three responses, and those responses are generated, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to use you right now, but we appreciate it. Which is like, I mean, I guess thanks, but what about the other 97? They just stole my data, and they just stole what I did, and now they have me in some repository somewhere, and so it's just a lie. Like looking for jobs is a lie, working at a job is a lie, and and what I mean by job is selling my time to somebody in exchange for money. That's kind of how I would describe a job. Selling my time to somebody in exchange for money, because you can't get that time back. You're basically spending your time somewhere so that you can earn that time somewhere else, right? No, this isn't working anymore. The idea was that I would be able to spend, in layman's terms in this sense, if I worked at McDonald's, I could spend like a week at McDonald's working 40 hours, and then that 40 hours I spent could afford an apartment. Now it isn't. Now I have to work 160 hours a month to be able to afford an apartment at McDonald's. And that's all the money I have. That's it. Gone. Boom. To an apartment. Gone. That's it. So like, what about my other bills? What about my car insurance? My health insurance? What about my just other stuff? My groceries? Like, I can't afford any of that stuff. So if I don't, why would I? So here's where it becomes a problem. Why would I go work at a job like that? If I can't afford to live now, I won't be able to afford to live later, because what indication do I have that it's going to get better? Zero. There's zero indication that it's going to get better, because what raise am I going to get after a year? 3 cents? Yeah. Nice inflationary raise. No. The place I just worked didn't even do those. They didn't even do inflationary. They did no raises of any kind. And I didn't know that till after I got hired, because they said, oh, there's opportunities for that. But I didn't realize till I actually got hired, because I was naive and silly, and I didn't, I guess, do my research. Oh, yeah, we don't do raises. Sorry. You have to change your job title. And that only happens with increased responsibility. But the job I worked at wouldn't give me the increased responsibility, because I would be valuable, and then they'd have to pay me. And they didn't want to do that. I got to slow down. I'm talking fast, I know. Here's the deal. You used to be able to spend your time somewhere and get it back in exchange. I'd spend my time working somewhere for, like I said, maybe 20 hours a month, and that 20 hours bought me an apartment. That 15 hours bought me groceries for the month. It's not like that anymore. You have to work exorbitant hours in order to live. And you're not, and to top all that off, are you happy? Absolutely not. You're miserable, because I was at the lowest I'd ever been in my whole life. I'm not as low now. I'm figuring it out, but I was the lowest I'd ever been working that job with the cheapest rent I'd ever had, but it didn't matter, because there's no incentive to do anything better. No one at the place I worked at had any incentive to go above and beyond, because there was no incentive, because they couldn't pay for it. So why would you try? Other than internally motivated, exploited reasons, because you get exploited like that. If you go above and beyond and you're underpaid for it, everyone's just going to exploit you. And that's what a lot of people had happen to them. That's kind of what happened to me, and then I just didn't put up with it, and I left. Okay, so like I said, I'm kind of trying to blend it all together. I have had problems in my past with work. Society, people from the ages of 18 to 30 are feeling the hard knock, the hard impact of companies not paying them more, them not being more valuable, them not being able to change jobs, layoffs being terrible, no incentivating no incentivizing, motivating factor to do a better job, to increase their value, their output, and so and that's the problem. That's what I see. That is the problem that I see. Okay, now I am a big believer in being responsible for yourself, and I'm still a believer in it's not my fault that the world is like this, but it is my responsibility to do something about it. So what am I supposed to do? And here's the deal. And this will be based as heck, I think. Maybe not. We'll see. Here's the deal. There is there are two camps that are starting to form, and they're on the internet everywhere. And they're both right in their own way, I think, but they are at complete odds with each other. And I am torn between both of them. And I'm going to tell you exactly what both camps are, okay? Here's one. And I'll start with the one that seems to be the most immediately appealing, which then moves into the other one, but you're going to see the problem. Here's the deal. Problem one. Well, not problem one. Here we go. Solution one. You find out what you want in life, whatever that is. You set goals towards that thing, and then you go get it. And there are some guys out there that set impossible goals. And when they set these impossible goals, they have this sense of fear that they get of never being able to reach them because they're so high. And that fear motivates them and drives them to go do something meaningful and to grow and to do incredible, impossible things. And so they do this. Many of these guys want to run a business. They want to retire early. They want to have very high income. And so they start businesses. And that's something that I'd like to actually do. And I have a couple of good, genuinely solid business ideas. I do. And I want to start them. And they're all ready to go, almost completely ready to go. I haven't launched them yet. And the reason is, I'll get into it in a second, but it's crazy because, like I said, these guys are absolutely determined in their life to go do this. And a lot of these guys, 90% of them are doing things like giant online e-commerce businesses or some kind of like they're those motivational speaker dudes or whatever. And they get up and they talk to you about how you can do it or whatever. Just different guys. But not even those guys. Other guys out there that are like, I'm going to go. It's like, I want to retire early. I want to have a high income. I want to build a business. I want to pay for my family's mortgage. Like, that's the kind of thing that these guys maybe set a goal for or whatever. And they're like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And they start a business. They run that business. And there's a lot of growth involved in that. But, they do this. And they try to make millions of dollars. And some of them become really, really successful. Here's the problem with that, okay, is I have learned through many people, and everybody else here has also learned through many people, that money doesn't make you happy. So if I'm going to start a business to go make a bunch of money so that I can retire early, the problem is money doesn't make me happy. I know it doesn't. I know money doesn't make me happy. Very confident about that. And more importantly, yes, the purpose behind the money would be to give it away, give it back. But the problem is, in order to run the businesses and to start the businesses, every single one of these guys sort of explains how to leverage your time in a way where you can make money while you're sleeping, which is correct. I mean, I think that's right. But the problem is, you are building a business off of people that are then selling you their time, and you are not selling anyone your time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel ethically good about starting a business where I have people working hourly for me, but then I myself don't have to work hourly. I feel like that's not fair. I want everybody to be able to work in a way that's like, it just doesn't feel good. Like, I don't feel good about myself going out and exploiting other people. Does that make sense? I can't be the only one that believes that, but I just don't feel good about going out and exploiting really anything. It's one thing if you have $1 billion opportunity, and I think I might have one, maybe not that big, but a good opportunity that can really scale a business in a way where I can scale my time back and I can really contribute to a lot of the clients that I want to have. The problem is, no matter how much I think my product is going to be successful and how cool it's going to be, I cannot escape the fact that I will feel bad about myself if the company is being run in a way where I have people under me that can't afford to live and I can't afford to pay them, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have this deep insecurity that, like, I don't want to go exploiting people. Because I feel like the way that you make millions of dollars, it's not by exploiting people outright, but it's by exploiting opportunities. And then once those opportunities sort of suck you to the moon, so to speak, you're like, oh my gosh, this is really good. I'm getting lots of clients. Now I have no time. I'm working 30, like I'm working 16 hours a day, and then I have to pay somebody to fix that problem for me, and that problem for me, and that problem for me. Eventually, you get Amazon. See? You get Amazon. How meaningless is an Amazon warehouse job? It kind of sucks. I know somebody that works there. It kind of sucks. It sucks. They pay you okay, but you are fixing a problem of 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 a problem. You have taken the meaning of your job, which would be a high position, meaningful thing, and it has gotten to the point where it's arbitrage to the very bottom. And you're doing meaningless work. And I feel bad about starting something where that would be, where that could happen. Where I could have somebody that I'm working with or for, or vice versa, where I have to exploit stuff in order to survive. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And this all is blanketed by the recognition that money's not going to make me happy. It's not. So why try to build a $1 billion business just so that I can get my time back when I could just have my time now? Right now, I've been sitting on the couch with my wife, watching TV while kind of trying to build my business. And I'm enjoying the time watching TV with my wife. And it's like the idea that it's so stupid because I feel bad about it. Like I wish I could go just make enough money right now. Like it's so lame too. On a side note, but I really want to get this off my chest. It's like we used to have this kind of thing maybe 20 years ago where like if you stayed at your parents' house and you were in the basement and you were just kind of being like a degenerate or whatever, like this was a thing that people did, and the niche amount of the people that were doing that, maybe they had something going on, maybe they did it by choice or whatever, but the growing number of people that are being kicked out of the workforce and have to do that is growing alarmingly fast. Where I would love to work. I'd love to do meaningful, valuable work that gives my life meaning and provides the opportunities for me and the hope for me, not just for now, for the future, where I can enjoy the now, have a meaningful present, and the work I'm doing is meaningful, and I have hope towards the future. Every bit of that script is now flipped. All the work is meaningless, there's no hope towards the future, and I can't afford to live. So what? So there's no choice. So either I just give up, and accept what I have now and say, I'm going to be happy now. I'm not making any money. If there's some gigs that come in, I'll be able to do those gigs. Sorry, parents, I want to get out of the house, but I don't really know what to do because no one's going to hire me. And I'll just tell you right now, just so you know, if I went and worked at McDonald's right now, I'd probably make maybe $1,600 a month, I think, before taxes, something like that. I had a friend call me a couple days ago saying, hey, would you be able to do video of a wedding for us or just photos of a wedding? What's your rate? I told him my rate, making $1,000 this weekend, $1,000. Why, in 3 days, because it's like a multi-day wedding, why would I spend 160 hours working at McDonald's when I know that I can just go get that work more frequently? But the problem, like I said, is that the more of that work I get, the more I start to feel like I have to exploit things. Because now, like, I have to start getting people on my team. I have to start having help. And those people I have to pay less. And it doesn't feel good. It's not always exploitation, but no matter what I do, I feel like if I start trying to make money, it's to go make money, to buy time that I can get back in the future where I can spend it being happy when I could just do that now. If I took the $1,000 and said, Mom and Dad, wife and I are going to Colorado for a couple of days, we're going to go enjoy the mountains, and we do that, and then come back, and we like nuke our bills to zero, and we just decide to do that, and that's how we spend our time, regardless of what my parents think, although I would rather not do that. There you go. I'm enjoying life with $1,000. See? As opposed to spending 50 years until I have like a bunch of autoimmune diseases at 67 years old, if I even make it that long, because of the carcinogens we put in our food and the radiation we've got coming on from the radio towers, whatever. We don't know about that. In any case, am I going to make it to 65? Don't know. Hope I can still stand up. Hope by then any chance at retirement at that point would be enjoyable enough for me to go walking around with a walker or a wheelchair to retirement getaways and stuff. It's like this doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. People are gonna be happy with what they're gonna be happy with now, here, in the here and now. But that means that like that doesn't coalesce with the idea of why would I go spend all my time trying to work and make money just so that I can be happy and then go do what I want when I could go do what I want now? Why would I go delay that? And more importantly, to top all that off, I heard this recently from some YouTuber. It's not my words. I'm going to quote somebody. I forget his name. It's like Luke or something. I don't know his name. He said something that kind of occurred to me that makes me just kind of go like, wow, I never thought of that before. Imagine working a job. Imagine going to a counter, and at the counter they print money, right? They're printing money, and that money is the government. That printer is the government. So the government is printing money. Imagine this. The government prints money. You then go to work and you are working for the money they're printing. You are. You know why? Because the money they're printing is going into all the major billion-dollar corporations. That's where it's going, right? The money, and it's going to their pockets. So they print money, give it to themselves. You then, in order to get a share of that money, because those corporations use that money to generate, to produce stuff, and then the process of producing requires problem solving, which us humans solve. And so all of us humans go in and work for the money that the government is printing. And then, to top all that off, we're taxed on the money that the government is printing. So the government prints money, we work for it, and then we're taxed because the government needs it back? No, they don't, because they could just print it. It's insane. Like, once you start thinking like that, you're like, okay, why would I go work a job? It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And all of this that I've said in the last 20 minutes, whatever, nothing I've said has even taken into account the one problem our generation has to deal with that nobody has to deal with in our generation. Nobody. This is a new thing. If you're over 40 or 50, you might be okay. If you're 25 like me, you're screwed. AI is a rising tide. Like that one scene, that one part of the game from Ori and the Blind Forest where like the water is rising. You should watch it. Just Google it. It's a really good scene. It's really emotional, okay? The water level in the economy is rising perpetually. And all of the most simple basic jobs are going to be gone soon because AI can do them. So every day that I do something, I have to take into account that there is a tide rising that's going to knock out everybody everyone that can only do something an AI can do. So every skill I have right now, if an AI can do it, it's not valuable in 3 years. That's why I won't go work at a factory. If I go work at a factory right now, which I wouldn't want to do, but if I had to do it to make my family happy and I needed to do it when, like I said, I already have people coming to me saying, could you do this for a couple hundred or this for 1,000, right? If I go work at a factory, I'm not going to get a raise. And in 3 years, they're going to fire me because they got AI that can do it. So I lost 3 years. They're gone. The 3 years I spent are gone because I'm not more valuable. I've maybe made friends at work or something, but I'm not more valuable because the skills I learned are completely useless because an AI took them. So how am I supposed to increase in value? How am I supposed to do this? If I knew what I wanted, I've said this on my podcast before, I don't even really know what I want because if I knew what I don't know that I want money because money's not going to make me happy. I don't know that I want freedom because I kind of have that now by choice, sort of. So it's like if I knew what I wanted, I don't even know that it would be worth going after because even if I wanted to go after that thing, how do I know that it's going to be there by the time I get there? If I go climb the mountain to go get there and it takes 3 to 5 years, how do I know that that thing's going to be there? How do I know that thing's going to make me happy? I don't. And the whole thing feels broken, totally messed up. Something is seriously wrong. And it's like, I genuinely, if you had to ask me what I think would fix everything, here's what I think would fix everything. And it's magical thinking. Here's what I think. Everybody under the age of 30 starts their own business. I'm not kidding. Every single person. Why? I'm not kidding, by the way. Why? Because everybody under the age of 30 that works right now at any basic job that's like Amazon or I don't want to say like a FedEx driver because it's not quite there, but you get what I'm saying. We're going to have self-driving cars probably eventually, like 20 years from now, right? So if you're under the age of 30, you have to start your own business. There's no choice. And that's going to suck because it's going to completely disrupt the market. I can just tell you the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, just announced a thing saying, hey, so, non-competes after you quit, yeah, we're getting rid of them, which is actually really good because of my old jobs. But even the government is like, we got to get the economy going. And they do, because we don't have any money. We don't have no money to spend to get the economy going because we're dumping it all on rent, which is stupid expensive because these BlackRock guys and these other companies, they're buying up the real estate and renting it out. So it's like, so tangents galore. I'm sorry. Listen, if everybody starts their own business under the age of 30, but we're not talking about starting a business that's just like whatever. We're talking about a business that's meaningful. We're talking about a business that allows you to do what you want to do, and a business that is somehow sustainable. Of course, it's magical thinking, but like if everybody has to work a job, why wouldn't you just work the job that you'd want to work and get paid in proportion to the problems you solve, but you want to solve those problems, you see? Like, the idea is that we're paid in proportion to the problems we solve. Let's solve the problems we want to solve that AI can't solve. And let's do that at the ages of 18 to 35 right now, because we need to find those things. I have one that I don't think AI can solve. I don't think it can, right? Not for a very long time. Eventually, yes, but not for a very long time. By then, I sell my company, maybe. But it's like, when I say start a company, start a business, I'm not saying this garbage that's like, yeah, 6 figures my first month. Oh my gosh, drop shipping business. Yeah, helping people exploit their addictions of buying garbage on the internet. Like, no, that's a great example. Like, there are all these guys that are gurus that are like, I make, $10 million in my first month, or I made $1,000. Look what I made last night, guys. I made $1,000 on my drop shipping business. And it's like, y'all are literally hooking people and addicting people on TikTok to buying crap they don't need at an arbitraged rate when they could just go buy it themselves from the drop shipper. I mean, it's just like this, it's disgusting. It's insane. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about a world where everybody works like we basically just all run our own digital mom and pop shop style things, but like even that doesn't fix the problem where not everyone can win, because there's always going to be someone that takes most of the cake, because that's how these systems work. And so, but is that still better than now? Yeah, because at least maybe it's meaningful. Maybe when you do the job you do and you're not really paid enough to live, but it's the business that you want to run. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's where I see it going. I don't see this crap working anymore, where we're going and working stupid, meaningless jobs when we can't pay for it. Like, it's one thing if I just kind of say that on my podcast and go, yeah, that's really base and that's really cool. It's another if it's like, no, like, somebody's got to do something. Someone has to get up and start changing the world or something, because this is not somewhat there. It's the same thing with things like crypto. I know that's a really weird tangent, but my point it's a quick thing. The reason crypto has been so ridiculed and made stupid is that no one has actually figured out how to make it useful yet. Everybody's just guessing how it's going to be useful. Craigslist in I think 1996, I'm probably wrong about that, 90s, Craigslist was just a random blog from a guy named Craig. Then he was like, I'm going to make it interactive so you can actually do stuff. And then he was like, here's all this other stuff, and hey, you can actually like meet people and hook up on here. And that was kind of cool. And then this other guy, a couple years later, like a decade later, said, I'm going to make this thing called MySpace. And then everybody comes on MySpace and goes, oh, this is really cool. And then a man named Mark Zuckerberg comes out and makes Facebook. Do you see how you get someone that takes the first step towards, let's say, social networking, social media, something like that? Someone else comes and improves. Someone else comes and improves. And then we get a formula. And then everybody copies the formula, right? It's like, there's no one doing that for the guys our age. There's no one coming out and going, hey, I'm 25, I'm 27, I'm 29, I'm 18, and I don't know if I should go to college, which you really shouldn't, to be honest. It's like, what do you do? There's no model. We're all floating. Where there's nobody that's going like, hey, do this, do this, do this. And all the people that are saying what to do, I don't trust them. I don't. Because the only reason that they're giving the advice away now is because they sit there, these guys that are like, you got to divorce your money from your time. You got to make money while you sleep. If they're saying that to you, they're legit using you to make money because of the ad revenue they're getting off you watching them.
I'm not saying that they're all bad people, but I'm saying I can't see past it. I can't look past that exploitation. I just see it. And I go, dude, this is just not okay. And there comes a cutoff where it's like, how do you have a meaningful, fulfilling life where you can afford to live, you can contribute to society, you can do meaningful work, you can create a good product or solve a problem for somebody? How do you do this today? I don't know, but somebody's got to get up and do it. If it's got to be me, it's going to be me. I don't care, but someone has to get up and actually do it and not be the guy going out going, oh my gosh, I made $1 million in my first month. Yeah, you did, because you exploited everybody. And you're like, here's how I exploited everybody. You guys can follow my lead. If they're saying that, it's either A, because they're so confident that they're ahead of the curve, you can't compete with them, or B, they don't actually believe that you can do it, and they're exploiting you. And I'm like, I'm just disturbed by it. And I'm not the only person. I'm not. There's no way. There are certainly people, 18 to 35, that are working a job where they're valuable, and those people, like, I'm sure they are thankful every day for what they've got. I would like to believe so, because they are in the very minority, very, very small minority of people. The majority of people our age are, like, hanging on by our fingernails. Like, we are not just to, like, the job market and stuff, but to meaning, to purpose. 100 years ago or 50 years ago, when everybody worked the line at Ford for 60 years or 40 years before they retired, it was like a societally expected thing that everybody here did that because the government didn't own them at the time, and big tech and corporations didn't own them at the time, or if they did, it was in some sort of social exchange because you got to pick the person that you were a corporate slave to, I guess. And so it was like a noble thing societally that, maybe my grandparents would go work at Ford or whatever, and they worked the line for 40 years and then retire. That was like a noble thing. So culturally, you found meaning in doing what needed to be done every day and all these different things. We still have that, but it's like the exchange isn't equal. It's not equivalent exchange. I go to a company. I say, company, pay me to live, I'll solve your problem. Okay, but we can't pay you to live. Well, you can solve our problems. That's fine. You go to any company right now in the entire world and say, can I intern? You would have a desk full of crap in 15 minutes. Every single one. I promise you. I interned several times. I promise you. During my college degree, I did it. I promise you that these companies want work, but they can't. It's not even if they want to pay you. Half of them can't because of the economy being so bad, because no one can afford to live, so nobody's stimulating it, right? So, like I said, and none of this takes into account things like AI. What happens? What happens when the AI comes in and takes over the bottom third of all jobs? Where are those people, where are they going to go? I mean, there's theories from all these billionaires, because they know so well what's best for me. They all have this theory that we print money and just give it to those people. And I'm like, yeah. And then tax the rich like we've been doing. It doesn't matter. It's all garbage. Left, right, politics is stupid. It's all stupid. All of it's stupid. Everything's stupid, right? So what is the solution? Where do we find hope? It has to be somewhere. I don't know. It may not be in the places we want to find it. Like, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, you know what? Maybe the whole trying to figure out what I want to get out of life thing might not work. Because that just kind of sounds like the Mouse Utopia experiments, which is what we're in right now. It's like, we're all grasping for straws at the little amount of money that there is at the bottom. And it's like, if you know the Mouse Utopia experience, it's like you have all look it up. Frederick Knudsen is a great video. But we're at the end of that. And it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to go down in the rat race and go, like, scavenge and go exploit and go take advantage? It's like, do I have to? I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to pay off my family's house. But I also want to start a business where I can do that because I feel like it's a noble aspiration. But at what cost? And is it going to make me as happy as I think it is? I don't know. Surprisingly, I've met a lot of people that worked really hard to get to where they are, and they're not happy. So what should I do? I don't know what to do anymore. And I don't think a lot of people do either. So what do? Someone's got to say so. Someone's got to do something. Someone has to set the model. I don't know who it's going to be, how it's going to happen. Someone's got to set the model for how to go meaningfully contribute to society and make it an honest, genuine thing and do it in a way that can be replicated by other people. You know, I'll leave with this because I hate the very fact, I resent the fact that the only way that I can even run this podcast in a way that's profitable is by, like I said, exploiting the audience. Like, I don't want to have sponsors. I don't want to have a G Fuel sponsorship in order to make $2,000 a month, you know, or a video or whatever, so that, you know, because y'all are going to be like, man, I really need some G Fuel. Like, really? Like, see what I'm saying, right? I'll leave with this. Because I've used up so much of your time, I don't want to continue to do that. I would hope that you're just doing dishes or something, not meaningless per se, but I don't know. I feel bad about using other people's time up. I just don't. I don't want to exploit that. I don't want to sell you on time. This is just me talking. Okay, I'll leave you with this. In 1998, I was born in 98. Windows XP. Anybody remember Windows XP? You remember the wallpaper? Everybody that remembers the wallpaper, go to Google, type in Frutiger Arrow. Okay, y'all remember that? Yep. That's what we thought it was going to be like. It's not like that. Not at all. It's more like, I don't know if you guys have seen that town in India, I think it is, but there's or something, I could be completely wrong. There was some town or some city in India that is like $1 million corporation skyscrapers, and then right next to it are a bunch of shacks and sheds with like tarps over them. I think maybe some people have heard of that. I don't know where it is, but it's like, we thought Frutiger Arrow was the future, and it's not. It's Blade Runner 2049. My favorite movie, by the way. Great movie. That's the future. So, but it's not here yet. It's on its way, but it's not here yet. Right? Like, Bill Gates hasn't bought up all the farmland. We still got time, right? Maybe. And if not, and I'll be honest, I kind of have a deadline on my life. Age 30. If I don't have it, it's not worth being here. I got a deadline on my life. At age 30, it's not worth being here anymore. If I haven't found the answers to what I think is the most important. You know why? Because at 30, my market value goes down significantly. Because I'm not a kid anymore and I'm not clueless anymore. By 30, everybody expects me to have it figured out. Right? And so, going back to the Blade Runner thing, it's like, how long do we have until the world reaches a point of no return? I don't know. But that Frutiger Arrow mindset about the future, hope, the 90s drum and bass that keeps getting recommended to me that I'm listening like crazy. Y'all should go listen to, what is it called? Total Science is one good one. A really good one is the Pesce Studio set from 1996. Listen to that and tell me you don't feel hopeful, right? We got to bring that in because no one's going to do it for us. Nobody. It is so obvious now that no one is going to bring about the Frutiger Arrow life. No one's going to do it. We got to do that for ourselves. Everyone from 18 to 35, we got to do that, man. Like, we got to bring it in. If we want that future, we got to do that. Congress is full of 76-year-olds. I don't need to say more. They don't even know what the heck we're talking about here. They're in a different universe. Nancy Pelosi is a fridge full of ice cream in the pandemic. I'm not crazy. There's no way, right? So what do? I don't know, but we have to find a way to bring that out. And if it is not possible to bring about the Frutiger Arrow life, the Frutiger Arrow future, if it can't be done, why don't we all just give up? Go home, love our families, live like it's India, live with our families and our parents, and enjoy the end of the world. And I genuinely mean that. I'm not talking like in a depressed way. I genuinely mean just go home. I did. I'm happier now than I was at my last job. While I figure stuff out, I quit. And it's like, if the world's going to end, really, well, I don't know, but if the world is going to end, why not just go enjoy the end of the world? And if the world isn't going to end, it's up to us to save it. Because the people over 35, God bless them. I don't know that they can do it because it's not their problem. They're not living in that world. They have different problems. They got kids, mortgage, you know, they're living in a world with other people that are valuable in their careers. They're still moving up in the world, but there's a cutoff period right between 20 and 35 where they're not looking to do that. They don't want more valuable people because they're not looking to do that. That's all I got. I don't know what to do, but somebody's got to do something.